Gullekson, and this is Southbridge Community Television here at our studio at 41 Elm Street in beautiful Southbridge. And Happy New Year to all of you, 2020. I'm here again with our esteemed librarian, Margaret Morrissey. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Max.
We had a wonderful 2019. You had so many programs over there at the library. Anything popped to your mind that you particularly liked or that you thought was a great effort?
I thought we had some amazing programs. There was such diversity, and I just think that just being able to offer so many different things is just wonderful, especially like music, and then going on to say poetry, and then like somebody's book being presented, and just straight research. It's all good. And we ended up the year with the census, and we'll be talking about the census for the next couple of months as well.
Yeah, sure.
So that's where our focus will be.
And now we have 2020 on us. And again, at the library in the January 2020, for the upcoming month, you have a number of programs. And as per often for the library, you have an artist in resident for the month of January. And this time you have two of them.
Correct.
You have John Ferrara and Donna Silverberg. Can you tell me a little bit about their art exhibit?
Yes, the exhibit is already in place, and this evening we're going to have the reception, and both artists are very prolific and they have a large reputation. They've both been active as artists for many years, in John's case, more than 60 years. And his work concentrates on Asian art. And Donna has some very interesting pieces, some of them in pencil and pencil drawings and that type of thing. It's just, you have to see the diversity of different things that they're offering. It's just amazing. It's very colourful, and I think it's just a nice contrast. You can see the difference between both artists and what they're producing.
In the past, Margaret, you've had, for your monthly artist in residence, you've had two together. And here again, this month, you have two artists together. Is there a reason for that? Do they tour together? Do they? Is this a serendipitous meeting, or do they have similar art? Why are they together?
John and Donna have a long collaboration in the community. They've been working together. You may remember a number of years ago, we had an organ. A tracker organ that was retrieved from the Swift River Valley before the towns in the Western Mass were disappeared, so to speak, for the Quabbin Reservoir. Well, John Ferrara was able to retrieve an organ from one of the churches there, and he has done some art with that in collaboration with Donna, and we had a huge piece of sculpture that they had put together as a result of the combination of this organ. It was just amazing. It was about 5 years ago, or maybe even a little more. And it was just such a talking point. And it was during the time that we had our library legislative breakfast. So it was a huge backdrop for that. So it gave a really good account of what was going on in Southbridge, and especially the collaboration with artists and people in the community.
This was a relic then from one of the four towns that was submerged.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
And it was just amazing.
And that was them, and now they're back now for an exhibit of their own art.
Yeah, and they do some very different things, but they've worked together as well, which that's what I think. They've worked on pieces together in this exhibit. So you'll see the contrasting pieces, and then you'll see the collaboration. So I think it'll make for a very interesting show, and people would be welcome to come. The exhibit will be up in the library until the end of the month, so you have plenty of time to see it. So I hope lots of people will come in. I know that both artists are very vested in the community, and they will obviously have a lot of people to come along to want to view the show. But everybody is welcome, and I'm hoping
I've
we
seen
have
them,
lots.
they're beautiful.
They
They seem similar too. Now on the 9th, which is the following Thursday, you have the box office again.
Blinded by the Light.
What's it called?
Blinded by the Light.
Blinded by the Light. What is that about?
So it's a young Pakistani person in London in the late 80s, and it's telling the story of their experience there. So it'll be quite the contrast to start the beginning of the year. So we're looking forward to that. Just to let your viewers know, anybody who may not have experienced our library box office, we have surround sound and comfy chairs, so it's a nice experience, and it is free.
Yeah, sure. On the 16th, the following Thursday, you have Clean Guys, Soaps and Essential Oil Paths, and they are demonstrating soap making from 6:30 to 7:30 on Thursday. Who are the Clean Guys, and what are they doing over there?
There are two people that make up the Clean Guys. That is Billy Bolster and Kristen Selmer. And they're both from Southbridge, and they have put this program together. They've been doing it in other places, but it will be free to our patrons to participate. And they will demonstrate how they make soap. It's cold press soap. They do not use chemicals. So there's a lot of things that they are trying to do that's different to the normal soap process.
I see.
And I think there's a movement and interest in the community for doing things differently and like to eliminate as much of the chemical background.
The way it used to be done.
Yeah.
Clean Guys, how appropriate for soap makers.
Yeah, it's a great name, and they've been doing a lot of work in the community, and I think they've got a following, and I'm hoping people will take this opportunity to come and see what they have to offer.
The 23rd of January, you have on Thursday, you have author panel presentation from 6:30 to 7:30. Who are the authors and what are they
So we
presenting?
have three authors. We have Susan Brunel, Charles Smith, and Tracy Ryan. So Tracy is a fiction author. She writes mysteries, and this will be her third book. And the other two authors, Charles Smith and Susan Brunel, they have non-fiction books. They're talking about grief and recovery and in different instances. But they're both non-fiction authors, so it'll be a nice contrast. And they each will have about 15 minutes of a presentation, and then at the end they will take questions, and people can interact with the authors, and if they want to buy the books.
Any local connection with those authors?
Susan Brunel, yes, has lived here, even though she's from California.
I see.
She has lived in the area and lives close by still. And Charles Smith is from Worcester, I believe, and Tracy Ryan lives in Sturbridge. But they all kind of intersect in Southbridge. They have connections here to the community. Either they know people here or they have lived here at one point.
Okay.
And I think it's nice to think that people are seeking out the library as a venue for presenting their work. And in this instance, we were contacted
Well,
by
they seem
these
to be
authors.
anxious to do so, Margaret. You have so
Absolutely.
many of them.
Yeah.
And they make for some great show. And then on the final Thursday of the month, you have Hoyt running chairs on the 30th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Now, Team Hoyt is the ones that do the marathons with the father and son. Is that the same group?
They gave their name to this chair.
Okay.
They worked with Mike DiDonato of Southbridge Tool, and they came up with a design for people who were wanting to participate in races and had a disabled companion, so that an able-bodied and a disabled person could work together. And they have honed a design that is very successful, and they're in business now a number of years. And it would be interesting, I think, to hear their story and how they evolved. And the Sotar family from Southbridge are involved as well. So it's a nice blend of people who've been involved in sports already. Nick Sotar and his family have
Long
been
time,
involved.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got the manufacturing of Southbridge Tool and Die. So I think it'll make for an interesting story. And it's also interesting to hear how need creates innovation. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And I'm really excited to hear their story and how they managed to make a successful story. And I'm sure it wasn't all easy along the, easy to do or whatever, but they persisted. And I think we need some stories of hearing about people, forging their own path and deciding to stick with
And
it.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and
it's kind of cool that the Hoyts have kind of lent their, because they have a large cachet. I mean, people know who they
Absolutely.
are, so that they helped out with these guys. And it's cool to think that they're enabling people that might want to do that, to do it, because there must be a need.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Margaret, that sounds interesting. We got a lot of nice programs. Per usual, you have a nice eclectic mix of different things going on, and the public's always invited, and it's free almost always. So folks, if you're looking for something to do in this cold month of January here in Southbridge, Margaret and her crew over there at the Jacob Edwards Library have put together a whole litany of new programs that we have just described. And I know that Margaret and the rest of them would be happy to see you over there, and would encourage you to go participate and see new artists and new interesting things that you may not know about. Folks, thanks for watching Southbridge Community Television, and we'll see you here, and we'll see you at our library again soon. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you,
Margaret.
Max.